Hey everybody, this is Jared again with part 2 of reassembling my modular closets. I know here where I live, California Closets is probably the biggest name. Another one I know is Classic Closets. There's also similar to things you'll get from IKEA or some of this modular type furniture with MDF, or I'm not even sure if that's what it is, whatever this type of particle, composite fake wood stuff. Anyways, I did it almost all by myself. My wife helped me basically stand them up because they are, and kind of put them in position. They are pretty sturdy and everything once they're up and together and screwed to the wall, but they're not made to move. So I needed some help just standing them up and getting in position, because you can't put a lot of pressure on the, the joints where the cam bolts, hold them all together. Okay, so let me turn the camera around and give you some kind of a tour of what I did and some tips and so forth. Okay, so there you see the one I haven't quite finished yet. And let me just, I'll start with that. You see I don't have the molding on top or on bottom. And honestly, if you didn't want to put the molding, it's not that bad, except you do see that unfinished edge there at both ends of the, I think you call that a kick plate down there. Anyways, I will put the molding on, but if you didn't want to bother with that, it looks fine at the top. In fact, if you put the doors on there, I've seen other cabinets that look just like that. The doors are on and no molding at the top. I do think it's good to have it elevated off the ground, so I did want to definitely do that. And because I have the molding and already done the other one, I'll go ahead and do this one. But as I showed in the previous video, this right here is what holds them all together. These, in this case, there's 4 on the bottom and 4 on the top of each cabinet. And this particular one shares a center piece there, so that one has 2 on each side of it. And then that's just a shelf that's in there with the pegs, like this. That hinge is blocking that one, but you can just you're probably familiar with those. Real simple, real common. Our particular needs, we use slat wall. I imagine most people won't do that, and so I'll just show you what that's like on the other side. We didn't need slat wall in all of them, just that one really. So basically you've got that type of thing, and this is 2 pieces. This is just kind of a face, so you don't see that unfinished in the piece behind it, which looks, just like I showed you over there at that. And so each of those spaces has that finished edge. Behind that edge is where it is screwed to the wall. And then, putting the doors on, just screw them in there. No big deal. What I did for the trim, I will do a tip. I will say I made some videos for myself, and when I went back and watched them, I tried to be real detailed. In fact, I was too detailed on some stuff because a lot of it's pretty simple, but I just wanted to make sure. But then I neglected other things, like just I don't know, for example, it was handy to know where this goes, and I don't have one for up here, and I don't remember if I did, because I didn't make a video about it or anything, but if I did, I lost it. But it seems pretty good. I will make a note about make mention on the trim. You can see where I used my brad nailer, and those are, I believe, 1 3/4 inch brads. And I don't know if I don't have a strong enough air compressor, or if I don't know what I'm doing, which is a possibility. But I couldn't get those to go all the way in here, so I ended up just cutting them off, and then I kind of pounded them in. What I do to pound them in is I'll use a bolt to hold it up against it, and then just hit the bolt with a hammer, because I can't really hit this with a hammer. Because this is such an angle, it is hard to get that brad nailer, and because you basically have, like, you're trying to get it into this piece, which I don't know if you have a 1/2 inch that you're shooting for there. There's not a lot of room. I think I had to get it, below this, And obviously the closer you get to the bottom, the thinner this is. You don't want to tear it up. And you can see they didn't finish that top. I should call and complain. I had these put in like 6 years ago, and I didn't know. I did know that before I did this, but probably had them for 3 years before I knew that. That's beside the point. Anyways, so you can see that's not perfect. And I could have gone and bought a pin nailer for not much at Harbor Freight. But I just said, oh, I'm going to be cheap and just use my brad nailer. You know, nobody's going to look up there. As you know, when it's your house, you can't unsee it, but nobody else will see it. In fact, it's in that bottom, and you really can't see it that well. But that's a lot easier to use the brad nailer, and they went in pretty flush down there. I think it's because that molding is just at such an angle, I couldn't really get a good strike from the brad nailer. You can see where I did miss. I was coming from the back side, and I totally missed getting into that molding, but that's okay. I'll use some brown paint or something. So yeah, you know, if you want to get a pin nailer at Harbor Freight, I'm sure you could do that. And I don't know if you need a stronger air compressor. I just have about the weakest one, which is, I believe, 100 PSI, 3-gallon little Harbor Freight again, my favorite store for this kind of stuff. But that's it, real simple, actually. Over here, I even had to, we had a longer base down there because at our old house we had another section. It was coming off of that side, but I'm putting that side in the corner. But basically it was like another low cabinet that was just about this high, and then it actually had a space with nothing, and then a high cabinet. So the top had separate molding, so that I believe I'll be able. No, I do have to mess with that molding, because the molding I have was to go on that side. So it's not going to be perfect. In fact, it's right here. No, that's the drop it there. That's the part that goes at the bottom. But you know, that right there is where I need a 45. They had that cut out so it could go back over the baseboard. So this has got the 45 cut. So I'm going to do my best with this. It's obviously not going to be perfect. I don't really want to order more of this stuff. It's going to be a little short on one end or whatever. I'll figure that out and do the best I can. Anyways, that's it. I hope that helps you. Make videos, label everything. That's another tip. So like even here, I put, it's upside down there, but I've got a number 2. No, it's not upside down. I was like, is that a 1 or what? That's a 2. And just, that's my own system. This was cabinet 2. The part I'm not using at this house because I don't have space for it was cabinet 1, and so forth. But there was a couple things I neglected to label, just got in a hurry that day or whatever. I was able to sort it out, but you know, if you have it all labeled right, it'll be quicker. So label everything on the edges, make some videos for yourself. Another thing I'll say is all my videos were kind of zoomed in, like, oh, let me show you this one little point. And I was looking back, I'm like, man, I wish I had zoomed out a little bit, because you just forget little things. Like, for example, I knew, and it's hard to see here, but there's 2 pieces here. There's a piece for this cabinet, and then another piece. Well, it's a separate piece. You can't really tell from that angle, but there's 2 of these tall pieces, and I can't remember. I had a little confusion about when I was doing this. I mean, the one on the left is taller than the one on the right, and that's obvious. I didn't forget that that's a taller cabinet, but there was some kind of confusion I had, so I can't remember. It would have been nice if I had zoomed out for some of the videos so I could see the big picture. Hopefully these tips help. I think it's definitely doable. I'm very pleased with how easy it was, actually, and it looks pretty good. The only imperfections I can see are when I use my brad nailer. If you want to spend 40 bucks and get a pin nailer and some pins, you might do better. Although I still think you're going to have a hard time. I mean, obviously the man who built it originally got those pins in there, so having the right tools helps. He might have had a stronger air compressor too. Who knows? But I'm pleased with it. There you go. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.